Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Tonight we are starting things off right away with the forecast. Another dose of snowfall is headed to this region.
Yeah, woke up to some snow as well today. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legout with more on our never-ending winter. Jeremy?
Everyone at home is going, you mean Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legout, because he keeps giving us snow. The best part about spring is spring snow. I'll stand behind that. It's either that or just hating everything because snow's not going anywhere. We've got more of it in the forecast. Winter weather advisories in place through noon tomorrow. That snow is expected to continue to fall through much of the day, but the biggest impacts are going to be on the morning commute. Widespread 2 to 3 inches of snow expected. About an inch down in the Palouse, inch in Ritzville. I think you get up into the mountains 4 to 6 or even upwards of a foot is not out of the question. Right now, not much going on the radar, but if you zoom out, there's a storm sitting off the coast. You zoom out even more, and there's our atmospheric river that's pumping all of that moisture into the region. So what does that mean for us? Snow, more of it. We'll see that start here in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, middle of the night. It grows more widespread. By 6 o'clock tomorrow, we are all seeing snow. By 9 a.m., we're in the worst of it. And then tomorrow we'll catch a break in the afternoon, but then we'll set up some strong or heavy snow bands. So it's going to be those bands, it's going to be those snow squalls that we talked about in the past. That is likely what takes us through tomorrow afternoon, and then it winds down. We'll see another couple of rounds Saturday morning, and then more Sunday evening, but then it looks like rain because temperatures just keep climbing throughout the entire weekend.
All right, Jeremy, thank you very much. Well, tonight, Anna Vetter's family and friends are gathering to remember her 2 days after she died in a construction accident at the Spokane Tribe Casino.
KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy has new information tonight on the state's investigation at that site and who is expected at tonight's vigil. Shannon?
I am outside the Carpenters Local Union Hall where just inside those doors, family, friends, and union brothers and sisters are gathered to honor Anna Vetter's life. And that is as we are now learning more about the state's investigation. The Department of Labor and Industries is looking into what happened to Anna Vetter. She was killed Tuesday while working on the casino's new hotel. Now, Swinnerton, the construction company leading the project, says a formwork collapsed. L&I, which is Washington's version of OSHA, tells me they are looking for potential safety violations or continuing hazards at that site. The agency will also interview the business owner, workers, and any witnesses to the accident. Now, for those who worked alongside Anna on job sites, and even those who were only getting to know her with her new union membership, this is a loss of a brilliant carpenter who was, as Sloan Duncan says, on her way to overseeing job sites soon.
Every single time she came across somebody who, like at any of our events, like they might have been off to the side, she was always roping them in to get them involved. She was constantly talking to people, being encouraging, and just you know, bringing everyone up. And like you could tell she cared about her community, she cared about her local, she cared about her job.
Now, L&I says that this investigation could take up to 6 months. And what could we expect from this? Well, it could be the finding of no safety violations, or if there is something found, that could lead to fines and citations. And L&I says that there could be a report put out publicly, but that depends on if there are any hazards found that need to be cited. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much. Meanwhile, tonight, this is a live look right now at the vigil that is nearly underway to honor and remember Anna and all that she did to make a place for women in construction. We will bring you full coverage from the vigil coming up on KREM 2 News at 6 tonight.
The past few days have been very busy in Olympia with bills either passing on or dying.
But when it comes to police pursuits in Washington, it proved to be a case of both. KREM 2's Cody Proctor joining us now to break down what happens next. Cody?
Well, Mark and Whitney, those bills, House Bill 1363 and Senate Bill 5352, are companion bills, but the results so far are anything but the same.
Here's what happened. House Bill 1363 essentially died Tuesday after House Republicans failed to get a House floor vote.
Madam Speaker, there are 38 yeas, 57 nays, 3 excused.
The motion is not adopted.
Then just over 24 hours later,
Mr. President, there are 26 yea, 23 nay. Having received a constitutional majority, engrossed Senate Bill 5352 is declared passed.
Its companion, Senate Bill 5352, narrowly passed Wednesday before the 5 p.m. deadline when it would have been considered dead. This all comes 2 years after state lawmakers passed legislation limiting police pursuits. The limitations were controversial at the time, and several law enforcement agencies across the state have said it hurts their ability to fight crime. Under current law, officers need evidence to chase after someone in most cases. They also need authorization from their supervisor to start a pursuit. The Senate bill would change requirements so officers could start a pursuit with reasonable suspicion. In addition, law enforcement would need to notify a supervisor before starting a pursuit. Senator Jeff Holy of Cheney is one of the sponsors of the bill. He previously worked in the Spokane Police Department as an officer and detective.
The checks and balances were so great as to prevent the problems that we're addressing here, trying to address by having this underlying bill that we found out is ineffective and it's not doing what we need to do.
During a media briefing Thursday, Governor Jay Inslee shared he hopes the House considers and passes the Senate bill.
I think that some changes on adjusting that needle of where we set it on police pursuits, realizing there's always some danger of pursuits, but there's also a danger of further criminal conduct as well.
Now that the state Senate's passed Senate Bill 5352, it'll now move on to the House. In the studio, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
All right, Cody, thank you very much. And Washington's ambitious bill to curb climate change is officially up and running. The Climate Commitment Act kicked in on the first of the year.
And now companies, consumers, and lawmakers are waiting to see exactly what it'll cost to emit CO2 in the state. The state held the first greenhouse gas allowance auction last week, where businesses that emit CO2 purchase credits. Critics have long argued the new law will result in higher prices at the pump, among other things. But 3 months into the landmark legislation, what is happening? Well, I talked to several stakeholders to find out what the impact has been, including the Department of Ecology.
So in your view, first a year, you didn't see gas prices in Washington increase as a result of this new bill.
So hear his answer and why critics say the new law is already costing consumers more, coming up on KREM 2 News at 6 tonight.